You know, first day of school, I thought our guys had a little bit of bounce about them, which was positive. But we're still in the process of figuring out how to sustain. You know, again, it's the inconsistency. You get 9 or 10 guys doing it the right way on both sides of the ball, but it takes all 11. So, you know, you got to continue to figure it out. You got to get other guys to kind of put a little pressure on their peers and you know, because your time's running out. You know, you're winding up fall camp, you get ready to start game planning. You know, we had everybody out there today participating, so that was good. You know, to kind of start getting some cohesiveness on offense a little bit, you know, up front. You know, wide receivers, Jawan's back participating, you know, full speed. It's helping, it's cutting down on some of the reps for, you know, some of the wide receivers, so you know, they can stay a little fresher here toward the end of camp. But special teams got some good work out there today. Our kickers continue to kick the ball really well. You know, so just got to continue to work on that part of it and our coverage and return. You know, we had to go in yesterday, so we were working on some returns and couldn't do it because we were inside, so we had to finish up and do some of that today. So not a bad practice for the first day of school. That's generally always a bad practice, but it was pretty good today.
Robin, Brian.
Coach, any J.J. Peterson update? Just the weekly
No, it's
question.
the same deal. You know, when that's the good thing about any student athlete. Once they finish up their requirements and, you know, pass the NCAA clearinghouse, you know, as long as it's not a deadline past entering school, they can start school. So, you know, we're still expecting him to be here.
Coach, you got a chance to see Trey now for a couple of days. You said last time that you would get your first look at him before you go. What are your thoughts on him, and what do you think at this point he's going to factor into the position-wise if you're pretty close to the middle?
Yeah, I think Trey is, he's probably excited to be out there. I'm sure the rest of the guys are too. You know, he jumped right in there and took all the reps. You know, we probably limited him a little bit to kind of build him up there in a couple of periods, but, you know, he looks like he has doing everything else except for hitting, so not really a surprise there.
Stephen Blake.
Just wondering, aside from the obvious points allowed, what are the stats you kind of look at from a defensive perspective in terms of what makes a really good defense, and just in general, what are the qualities that you look for in a solid defense?
Well, probably you know, how many points you give up. That's probably the most important. You know, but to do that, you don't want to give up a lot of points. You can't give up big plays. You need to get turnovers. You need to be a good tackling team. You got to get off the field on third down. Be good in the red area. Just the obvious. Probably want to put pressure. You got to find a way to affect the quarterback. You know, so to me, I believe if you keep good edges, keep the ball in front of you, and make the other team beat you, you got a chance.
Blake and Dave.
Jeremy, 2 questions. With Trey, just to clarify, has he been cleared for full contact? And then in terms of the quarterbacks, would you like to know who it is and ideally just play one in the season opener, or how open are you, to using a 2-quarterback system in the opener?
Yeah, Trey's been cleared. You know, it's interesting to me. Y'all don't ask me who's going to be the starter at center, who's going to be the starter at strong safety, who's going to be the starter at right linebacker. We don't know that either. So, again, we'll figure it out as we get there.
Jeremy, you talk about strain a lot. What does that mean to you? Why you sort of made that buzzword in the program, and where did that come from?
Well, the easiest thing for me is, you know, I figured if I could remember when I was a young kid, we used to have some drills we did in the off season where somebody laid on their back, and to win you had to get off your back and somebody would hold you down. I guess that was old school days we used to have in the gym, you know. So you got to strain to get off your back, you know, if you want to win the drill, right? So I look at it like that. If somebody held you down on the floor and told you you had to get off, you know, get off your back, you'd be straining to get up, right? That's the easiest way to put it to me.
Daniel.
Coach, I know you spent a lot of time with the cornerbacks today. What have you seen from the physicality from that position so far through fall camp?
From the what position?
The cornerbacks.
Cornerbacks? You know, I think we got guys that have talent. We've got really good competition. You know, everybody in our program is still learning the how. You know, they pretty much know what to do, the how to do it. We're still trying to master that. It don't matter if it's cornerbacks or quarterbacks or tight ends or wide receivers or the long snappers. The standard that we're looking for, we're still looking for that, and we're getting closer, but we're not there yet.
Jesse and David.
Yeah, it's kind of a follow-up to the defensive question. How have the unit, or how has the unit kind of performed in the situational stuff, red zone, third down, into two scrimmages, and what kind of progression have you seen from them? Obviously, you highlighted that's kind of the most important components in making a good defense.
Well, I think if you look in all three phases, whether it's defense, offense, or special teams, again, there's a lot of really good things going on, but just a whole lot of inconsistencies, you know. And it's not the same person. It's different guys every day. There's different guys that raise their level every day, and there's some guys that they can't sustain every day. And it's, you know, so we've seen a lot of guys in our program that have showed that they can do it and do it the right way. We got to get them to do that all the time, and they've got to learn to do that all the time. You know, they got to do it when they're tired. They got to do it when they don't feel good, when it's hot, when the other team's kicking their tail. They got to find a way to do it, figure it out, right, and sustain it, do it over and over again. We got a long ways to go in that department, and to me, a lot of that's mental. That's just mental toughness. So physically, we've seen guys be able to do it, and from a mental standpoint, we've done it some, but we've got to learn to do it more and more.
And just what's kind of the plan for Saturday? Are you guys scrimmaging again, or is that just going to be kind of a typical practice as you guys lead into the game week?
No, we'll start working on West Virginia tomorrow. So, you know, we'll take tomorrow will be like a Monday practice, then a Tuesday, then a Wednesday, then we'll start back over next week.
David.
Jeremy, what's your philosophy on using starters on special teams? Will you do a lot of that?
Yeah, I think we need to play our best players. You know, the way I look at it is if you're not a good special teams player, then you're probably not a good offense or defensive player. So, you know, there's been many a times that over the years, you know, whether we're punting the football, we got a couple of gunners out there that are hard to block because maybe their ability, they're fast or whatever. You know what? We've rested them on defense when they've been our best players, just so they could play on the punt team. So we're going to play our best players on special teams.
Patrick, last.
Couple questions first. You mentioned Juwan's been full speed scrimmage on Saturday. Kind of what have you been able to see from him and sort of getting your first kind of real look at him over the last few days, and also kind of camp as Nigel where you're at?
Well, you know, Juwan took some snaps the other day. He had banged his shoulder up, so he'd been in a black jersey, but today he was out there, you know, taking some licks, and he needs to take licks. You know, because when you've got a black jersey on, obviously no contact. If you look, those are the guys traditionally in camp that turn the ball over, because they're not used to getting beat on and thudded on and tackled. So it's good to get him back there because he needs some of that. You know, and as far as Nigel's he's continued to work hard. I've seen a lot of improvement out of him this fall camp. He's doing much better playing the ball, you know, tackling in space. So we just got to continue to work.
I know how coaches can be when we ask questions about who's going to be a starter, because you'll have, you know, depth charts and rep charts and all those other things. But you said earlier that there were a lot of positions, not just quarterback, where you didn't really know who the starter was going to be necessarily. How many spots do you have a pretty good idea who those guys are going to be on both sides of the ball? How much of that's still ongoing, and how many spots do y'all feel like you've got some good stuff set up?
You know, Wes, I don't know that we have anywhere that we know who will be a starter. I think we've got that much competition. We got guys that can play multiple positions. You know, over the years, we substituted people every play, you know? Play the guys that's doing it right, play the guys that's practicing the right way. It's a performance-based deal, you know, so people are practicing the right way, they prepare the right way, perform the right way, they play. The ones that don't, play somebody else. So hopefully we'll be able to play a lot of guys, you know. Hopefully we got a lot of guys that are doing it the right way.
Question, Ron?
Coach, just kind of a schematic thing, your quarterbacks, do you teach it, you have a left quarterback and a right quarterback, and you have guys, do they chase a certain player, or does it depend on what your personnel?
Well, I think it's easier if you play a left and right. There's been years that, you know, we played field and boundary. We played left and right. We've had them follow certain guys. With the speed of the game, the way the offense plays, it's much easier to play left and right. You know, in the old days, you probably could play field and boundary. Heck, most of the balls in college go to the boundary. Very few of them go out to the field. It's too far to throw. And most of the run game don't get out there. But with the speed of the game, the way offenses play fast, it's just much easier now to play left and right. So that's really, you know, when we go in fall camp, in spring, we don't even play a strong safety and a free safety. We play a left and right safety. And what it does, it helps them understand how to play the other position. So let's say tomorrow we started playing a strong free. At least they've had all these reps in spring and fall camp to learn both spots. So it helps you develop and understand how to play both positions.
Thank you, Coach.